Let's call the meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. Welcome and introductions. Everyone knows each other. Hopefully Susanna is joining us. She hasn't hopped on yet, but hopefully she gets, oh, there she is. So newly elected RNESU board or appointed. Hi Charlene, and there's Charlene. I started recording, you didn't miss a thing. So introductions, does everyone know each other? You want to go around and say what's your name, who you are, and what board you represent? I'm Kristen, I'm the superintendent.
I'm Lori. I'm from Otter Valley Unified Union, and I represent the town of Sudbury.
Becky?
I'm Becky Waters, and I'm from the town of Whiting.
Barbara?
I'm Barbara Ebling. I am from Brandon and the Otter Valley Board.
Robin?
Robin, I'm from Chinden and I represent Barstow.
Jessica?
Jessica, I'm from Mendon on the Barstow board.
Robin?
You already did
Oh, I
Robin.
did? Susanna? I'm a horrible chair.
This is Susanna. I'm also from Mendon, representing Barstow.
And Brenda?
Brenda Fleming, and I don't represent anyone.
Excellent.
That's true.
Excellent.
No.
So true. We have the lovely Charlene here as well. And Loffredo, Loffredo. So, can I get a motion to review and accept the agenda?
Second.
Is that Jessica?
Jessica and Becky. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carries.
Aye.
Aye.
I saw hands too. Lori. All right, so we're going to move on to the reorganization of the board. The first up is to elect a chair. Are there any nominations for the position?
I nominate Lori Bertrand.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Becky? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of electing Lori Bertrand as chair of the RNESU board, please signify by saying aye.
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 And Lori is the chair by consensus. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your support. We're going to move on and elect a clerk. Are there any nominations for clerk?
I nominate Barbara Ebling.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of electing Barbara Ebling as clerk, please signify by saying aye.
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 Perfect. Thank you. Congratulations, Barbara. You are now our clerk again. Okay, communications with parents, citizens, and staff. Is there anyone here who'd like to address the board? Okay. We're going to move on to consent agenda. Can I get someone to make a motion to approve?
I'd like to pull something off.
Yep. Well, which one?
Thanks. Well, we just wanted to discuss the date of the meeting.
Yep, so L. Okay, you want to pull off L? Any others?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and finish the consent agenda for everything except for L. So, was there a motion already on the?
No.
Okay, so can someone make the motion for the consent agenda minus letter L?
So moved.
Thank you, Becky. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Robin. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay,
Aye.
great. Consent agenda passes. Going back to number L, letter L, excuse me, not a number. Can someone make a motion and then we can talk about it?
A motion to discuss?
Yeah, or a motion just that you want meetings to be on Tuesdays or something such as that.
Make a motion to discuss the possibility of changing, and I don't know what everybody's available. We had discussed on Barstow, maybe possibly moving it to a Monday, but ahead of our meeting
Okay.
because of schedule. I did have a question though.
Mhm.
I don't know how that's going to work. As I was just logging in tonight. Is the library open between 4 and 5, or could we go there early? So we don't have to travel in between meetings? Do you know, Kristen?
Well, the library on Tuesdays,
This would be Monday.
Mondays,
Maybe Monday.
the
Yeah.
library at Barstow is in use, so we would have to set up the RNESU board would have to be virtual and in the hall, say at 5 o'clock, and then move into the library
Okay.
at 6 for BUU.
Okay, that's all our question. Okay.
Should we do a second and then keep discussing?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
The motion.
Sorry.
Well, the motion right now is Monday.
It's to discuss changing the meeting date
Right.
and time.
I'll second that.
Okay. So, discussion. So,
I can,
go ahead.
I can never make a Monday.
Okay. And we really need to move off of Wednesdays. Otter Valley has moved their meetings to Tuesdays. So I don't know how that looks for BUU members. So we could do the meeting before the Tuesday at 5, like and piggyback the RNESU meeting, or I mean the Otter Valley meeting. Or we could pick a different day, but I don't want to do Friday.
I
Yeah,
can do any day.
Tuesdays and Thursdays are tough for me.
Okay,
I can't do 4 o'clock
on a
Any
Monday.
day. Yeah, no.
Right, yeah. What? Why not?
It would need to stay 5.
Yeah, no, I think it
Five
needs
by
to stay
10.
5 anyway. So, all right, Tuesdays and Thursdays are tough for Robin. We can't do, I mean, if we did Monday, it'd have to be virtual. Because we can't do it at the Barstow Library, correct? Is there another place in Barstow where we could do it?
Yeah, we could do it in the hall.
Well, isn't there like a classroom we could use or something?
Yeah, sure. We could find a place at Barstow easily.
Okay. How does everyone feel about piggybacking or going in front of the BUU meeting on a Monday? Becky,
I
Barbara?
may be able to make some of them, but I would always have to do it virtually because I teach Monday nights.
Oh, right, okay.
And, I mean, 5 o'clock is not a problem for me, but I do have, oh, wait a minute.
Did you have planning commission? Or,
Okay, so the first Monday of the month, I have planning commission and energy committee at 5.
well, this would probably be the
Second.
third one.
Second and fourth Mondays of the month, I have select board, but
This
they
would be
don't
third.
start until 7.
All right, well, this would be the third Monday.
Perfect.
Just fill your Mondays.
No, you don't want to have a
Take
Monday
it.
free. Come on. You like being with us.
I do.
Okay.
And it doesn't work great for me. I'm usually in transit for gymnastics on Mondays, but I suppose I can zoom in, so.
Well, how about this? How about we try a Monday and see, the issue is that we have to have at least 4 people there or we don't have a quorum.
Oh.
So, so we lose 2 people and all of a
And I
sudden,
also,
yeah.
and the third Monday of the month, now that I'm thinking about it, I have a book club meeting at 6. So, I don't know. It's not looking good.
Okay,
Because usually what I'm doing is I'm driving to Rutland, taking my kids to gymnastics, then driving back to Brandon and going to book club. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna, it wouldn't be a great night for me. That's just me.
I'm not hearing any nights or consensus.
no, there doesn't seem to be. And Tuesdays and Thursdays are definitely out for everybody, even at a specific time.
I can do any day.
Okay.
I'm still at work.
I can do Tuesday, yeah,
Maybe you.
I can do Tuesdays and Thursdays, generally speaking.
I can do Dave.
Okay,
I think you lose Robin on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
right.
Was Susanna able to do Tuesdays?
I don't know. Susanna, what about
Did I
you?
hear someone say Wednesdays don't work?
They do not work, no, they don't work at all for anybody. We won't have a superintendent with us.
Which I'm fine with, if you want to put that in the minutes.
No, we gotta have our superintendent with us, so, or at least most of the time. Well,
You could have them Wednesday until the end of the year and then
reevaluate. I mean, well, that's the thing. Things could change for next year. Barbara's stuff could change. It may not always be on Monday nights. Is that possible, Barbara?
Sure, anything's possible. I'm at the mercy of their gymnastics schedule. I don't know how much it changes, one year to the next in terms of when their training is.
Okay.
Or their, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it had changed, from year to year, if you went
I'm just
from
gonna restrict.
Tuesday to a Monday to a Thursday or whatever.
Yeah, assuming they keep the gold, I mean, they're in gold level. Assuming they keep gold on Mondays and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then that's probably when I would be taking them
Okay,
next year. Yeah.
okay.
So yes, Wednesdays didn't work for her either.
Okay. Well, it sounds like most of us, no offense, Robin, but it sounds like we probably need to do Tuesdays for a while. I mean, we can do Wednesday through the end of the year and then reevaluate and see if we can, do something different.
We have a contingency plan if I can't make it
That's
in
true.
general, so we'll have the seat filled.
Okay, all right, well,
Do you want to do Tuesdays then? In front of yours?
all right, so let's stick with the third Tuesday and we'll go from there.
Starting at 5.
Is that okay with everyone? Well, let's do the whole, so the third Tuesday at 5. Yep, and it would be here at Otter Valley. I'm not sure who said,
There'll continue to be a remote option? through
Yes.
the end of the
yeah,
year?
Yes.
yep. So, but the meeting would be here at Otter Valley in front of the Otter Valley meeting that starts at 6. So, all of those that, do we need
The
it?
next meeting is gonna be, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I unmuted myself. The next meeting will be during spring break, just FYI.
Oh, right. So do we need to do the 11th again like we are?
Yeah,
It'll be
we
during spring break
moved it to the
regardless,
11th.
but
So, right. So the first meeting in April will be on the 11th.
We didn't change over the,
Yeah, we did. It's Tuesdays.
First and third, and it's good.
there was.
There will be one on the 4th and one on the 11th.
Because there was a discussion and it was decided that
The
there was
11th
going to
would-
be a quorum, so you didn't change it.
Well, well, that's what we
No.
talked about, but we did end up changing it to the 11th.
Change it to the 11th.
After the meeting,
No, it was during the meeting.
unless that happens.
That's all right. Okay. So, yeah, so that second meeting of the month in April will be on the 11th. And then we'll go to the third Tuesday, starting in May. So does someone want to make that
so
motion?
that
And
sounds good.
all right, so if someone could make the motion and then someone second that, then we can vote on it.
I move that the RNESU board meets on the third Tuesday of the month to begin this year in May, but with the
Yep.
April meeting falling on April 11th.
Yes. Yep. Is there a second?
If you need that to be specific.
I had that anyway.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. I think that was Susanna. What, Becky? Oh, I think we lost.
I just said second, but so did Jess at the same.
She seconded.
Oh, okay. All right. So all those in favor?
Suzanne, sorry.
Aye.
What?
Our junk internet.
I
Can you text me, Becky? Cause you're fading in and out.
Susanna, can you still hear us?
Yes.
Okay, so it's Becky's.
Oh,
internet.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, there she
I think she
is.
said she was just seconding.
Aye. Okay. All those that approve the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right. The ayes have it. We will meet on the Tuesdays from here on out for a while. Okay. Oh, crap. I lost my... Here we go. All right. So that finishes up the consent agenda. Superintendent's report.
There's nothing that wasn't presented to BUU and OBU.
Okay.
The only thing is the social emotional learning that we had hoped would make it onto March agendas is coming up in April. And then for RNESU coming up in April, we will see the special education and mental health that was postponed because of our director's illness.
Ah, okay, that's right. That's right. I would like to take this moment, though, to recognize Debbie Alexander as our Principal of the Year. That's very exciting news for RNESU. And we wish her all the great accolades that she deserves for that great accomplishment. So our next thing is Board Monitoring Report 4.6, Board Committee Principals. I don't have that handy, do you?
Sure.
So glad you do.
And
Yeah.
Lori, I just have to mention that I'm about at my destination. I'm gonna have to leave the meeting for a bit, to attend this event, so,
Okie dokie.
just so you know.
Not a
All
problem.
right.
Okay. Thank you.
This is a big packet.
Ah, there it is. Thanks. All right, so we have a monitoring report to look at, which is 4.6 board committee principals. We looked at this last year about the same time. It specifically talks to board committees, which we really don't use except for negotiations. Oh, and that's exactly what I said last year.
Yep.
Look at that. I didn't even read that. Ha! Okay. And so I'm just looking to see, and you guys should look to see if there's anything we need to add to this. Because, like I said, we really don't use board committees except for negotiations, which we shouldn't need for 2 years. We're very excited about that. And other than that, I don't think we have to change this, but I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you think?
I think it looks fine the way it is. I have nothing to add to it.
Okay. Anyone else? Then hearing no other comments, all of those that would like to accept our 4.6 board committee principals monitoring report as is, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Perfect. All those against, nay? Okay. Ayes have it. Thank you for that. All right, next thing on our agenda is food service continued discussion. So Brenda's here with us. The reason it's on the agenda is just because we know that food service is up for renewal. Our food service contract is up for renewal, and there has been some discussions regarding quality of the food at school, and so we just wanted to keep it on our radar for a while. So, Brenda, do you have a committee together for the food service contract, or how is that working?
Yes, so the food service, just to kind of give you a little bit of history, the food service contract is a highly regulated RFP process through the Agency of Education. And it first starts with defining what you are going to use, or what you are going to score your proposals on. And so we started with a committee. I think we started meeting in December through January to kind of put up our rubric of what things we are asking each food service provider or potential food service provider to document in their bid, and we will give them a score between, overall the highest score you can get is 135. And I can share this with you. I can even share my screen if you want, but we identified 19 criteria. The Agency of Education, the federal government, require that price be the highest part of the 20-point rubric. And so that does have 20 points to it. But we have other things like the meal visual appeal, the menu, and how the menu can deviate and add from the standard meals to include current dietary preferences, such as gluten-free, low carb, any of those types of things. That's worth, I won't tell you how much each of these are worth, I'll just kind of go through them. Menu variety, menu preparedness. We wanted to see a balance of freshly prepared foods versus processed foods, as well as how they are prepared. Are they open from a can? Are vegetables steamed? Are they roasted? What type of flavors are used to add to the quality of the meal? What makes up the menu? What promotional materials the food service management company has to promote their programs, but also to promote special events, highlight local foods or local farmers that they use. How they handle the sort of no thank you table or the share table. So as students are going through the line, they have to pick up this, this, and this to get a saleable meal. When they get to the end of it, there are certain things they can say, I'm going to put this on this table and I don't really want it. Other people can use it. How do they use that? How do they advertise that? How do they make sure students are getting, that they know that it exists? But then also, how do they take what's not sold or consumed from the no thank you or the share table and regenerate it into a different product or a different complement to the meals? What their point of sale system is like, how that operates. New this year, you may remember they must have an online application process so that they can log in and apply online. Again, breakfast program, looking for variety. We find right now our breakfast program is full of a lot of grab and go and a lot of processed foods. I'm wondering if they would have some sit and eat options and what that might look like. What their staffing model looks like and what their management plans are and their employee benefits. That's worth 15 points as well. What the school nutrition staff benefits are, making sure that they have, or that we feel comfortable that they have both adequate sick leave time for staff, because nobody wants sick food service workers, as well as professional development. What their a la carte offerings, that's very little. What their documentation and record keeping look like, their percentage of local versus non-local, and we've defined local as all of Vermont, not necessarily just our area. Financial strength and stability of the company, and then references. So There is a committee, it's a teacher from Neshabie, it's the Lothrop principal, Debbie, myself, Christine Everett's from the high school. And so we kind of worked on this rubric. I've then been working on the 97-page bid document that was just approved yesterday by the Agency of Education. So the next step is we will submit it to every vendor that we know of in the state, plus we'll publicly advertise. We'll have a site visit on April 10th. We'll have bids due, I think it's May 1st, so that I could have it ready for action for you to award or respond to in the May meeting. The bid process requires that the highest rubric get the job. So the committee will meet collectively, and we will each independently score each of the proposals based on that rubric that I just went on about, and add them all together, and the highest score will win. Are there any questions?
Nope. So, and where are we in the process of that right now? I guess I do have a question. So,
So the next thing, so tomorrow I'll actually do the advertising,
okay,
and we have to advertise on the state website, and we have to place an ad in a paper. And then we can also publicly or direct invitation to companies that we know do business in Vermont. We get that list from the state. So I will send those out by the end of this week. The next thing is a site visit so they can see each of the kitchens on April 10th, and then the bids are due May 1st.
and do you have any kids on your, like any high school kids or anything like that on your panel?
Not on the scoring committee.
Okay,
We did ask this year, part of when you have a food service management company, you're required to have a, oh my God, what is it even called? You know, when you get old, you just lose words out of your mind. It's a committee that really works to improve the program.
okay.
You're all laughing at me. Monitor, it's not monitoring.
I resemble.
But anyways, we do have students on that food advisory committee. So
Okay.
each school and each site has an administrator, the Abby staff, at least one teacher, and at least one student to talk about their current programs. That's a requirement of the food service management company so that we can keep our programs robust and appealing throughout the process of throughout the term of the contract. We do award a contract only one a year, or 1 year at a time, but we can continue to renew the same one for up to 5 years.
And that's pretty much what we've done, correct? Mainly through COVID? Okay, well, it makes sense through COVID and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Anyone else have any questions for Brenda about our food service program? Okay, thanks, Brenda.
You're welcome.
ESSER funding update. I think that's you too.
I think so. So Kristen, do you want to either display the forms I sent you, or do you want to give me the screen to do that? I'm not sure how that works.
You can take, I mean, I have it, it's sideways, but you should be able to, if you want to share your sideways one.
It's sideways?
It's sideways on mine. Is it sideways on yours? You should be able to just hit present. Is it
I'm
like,
checking to see if it's sideways on mine. Oh, you know why it's sideways? It's sideways because I went through the copier, yeah. Okay. Give me just a minute. PDF is being persnickety.
So you're gonna
Okay,
create
so you think I just hit present, huh? Sorry, I don't know why my PDF is giving me so much difficulties today. Right back. Sorry.
Okay, so I just sent you.
Maybe you should have done it.
Kristen, I sent you the minutes to the overview meeting. Yeah. I'm just adjusting it to say April 11th, so disregard that.
I don't have a present option. Oh, share screen.
There we go.
Okay, can you see it?
Yep.
Let me see if I can make it so you can actually read it. Okay, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit backwards. So we have three different pots of ESSER funds, ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and what's referred to as both ARP, A-R-P ESSER, and ESSER 3, ARP ESSER 3. The total is $7,777,537. So this first report tells you that we have spent and or plan to spend in fiscal year 24 all but $3. That's just rounding. And each column tells you how much we've spent to date. So in column 1, so in fiscal year 2021, when we first started with ESSER funds, right immediately after the pandemic, we spent $740,000. So we spent all of ESSER 1 plus a little bit more in fiscal year 2021. All of the ESSER funds are available for expenditure from March 17th, 2020 to September 30th, 2024. So all of the fiscal year 24 year plus another 3 months. In fiscal year 2022, last year we spent a total of $2.1 million. This year we're expecting to spend 1.4. Part of the reason we're expecting less this year is we continue to struggle with staffing and finding staff. And as we have openings in staff, we look at where best to move them. So we had interventionists that had to be moved out of intervention services into classroom instruction. So we have moved them, and that's why we continue to have more money. So heading into next year, fiscal year 2024, we have about $3.3 million, or just about half of those ESSER funds still to spend, and we have defined how we're going to spend them. So that's kind of the broad. I'm going to keep going down into the detail. The second report, and For those of you that are online, I can either email them to you or I know Melinda will send them out tomorrow. Is kind of by object. What are we buying? So you can see that we're buying, in salaries. In year 2021, we bought $341,000 of salaries. And up to 2024, we're projecting that we will purchase $1.6 million in salaries. Benefits, of course, are contingent on salaries. And then some of the other things we bought are purchase services and so purchase services are things like the equity audit and the safety audit, the professional development for leadership. So those things that are, we bring in experts to help us identify our needs. And then we have some repairs and maintenance. Those are smaller amounts. They were, kind of first out the gate. And those were things that were really addressing, COVID when it was active and live, and we believed it was alive on surfaces. So, we had PPE and different remediation measures that were recommended. And then the biggest sort of supplies were in the beginning of the year, or beginning of the pandemic, so in 2021. So that was, again, where we purchased a lot of technology. You'll remember that we initiated a one-to-one computer system. So we purchased technology, we purchased devices, we purchased cameras and switches and all of those things so that we could pivot to remote learning as we needed to. And you can see that that has gone down over the 3 years since we've had ESSER funds. And then under the assets, those are the modular units that you're aware of. So we've purchased one at Neshabie. I'm sorry, the first one was at Leicester. That one is occupied now. The second one is at Neshabie, and we are in the final stages of occupancy. The problem was the Greenmount Power said we needed a 4-phase power that you literally can't get the board. So we've been working with Greenmount Power to come up with a solution so we can occupy that building, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. As you know, we did put in for a modular for Otter Valley so that they could host an alternative education program kind of on-site but separate from the big intimidating building of Otter Valley for students who have difficulties kind of entering that very large building. So those are the 3 modulars. And then the last line is called transfers. Transfers is our ability to kind of pull off the top one-time monies for administration of the grant, or for it's an indirect fee. So we have been reinvesting that into so that money kind of comes out of the grant and it goes into Rutland Northeast. And in Rutland Northeast, we've been investing it into technology and the added softwares and resources that we needed, again, for the one-to-one computing. And we are proposing that next year, in fiscal year 24, we will take the indirect rate as well of $129,000. Kind of the beauty of doing something like that, especially in next year, is it gives us a little cushion for some of these added positions that we may hopefully find, we know that they're successful and we may be able to maintain at least one of them. So the next few pages are details, more and more details, but I will tell you generally what each of back here on the top, what each of these things are for. So direct instruction includes all of the floating subs that we had the first year, the intervention teachers that we have to actually intervene and help support student learning. And next year we are adding some increases, or we're hopeful to adding some increases to teachers that can focus on learning loss, similar to like a class size reduction teacher, so that they would be responsible to not necessarily do specific intervention, but to really focus on learning loss that students have experienced. And the next function 2100, these are your student support services. So most notably, we have nursing services in here. We have, since the beginning of the pandemic, funded a full-time nurse at Otter Creek Academy, which previously shared a nurse with Lothrop. We have also increased staff here. We purchased some coaches to support social and emotional learning, and we plan to do that again next year. We also plan to add next year some licensed social workers to help with our truancy issues, as well as homeschool coordinators, homeschool coordinator. In the next section, 2200, these are instructional staff support. So this is again where we have invested in coaches to support teachers, and PD and professional development for teachers. So teachers to coach and help support teacher learning. 2400 is administration. So you may remember we purchased a assistant principal at NESU. NESU is about the size of Otter Valley, a little bit less, maybe 100 students less. And we also purchased a half-time assistant principal at the high school. And then facilities, again, you can see that that was, you know, kind of top heavy in the very beginning, in the beginning of the pandemic. That's where we had added custodian time, we had increased custodial salaries, we had increased the number of custodians, and then they became part of the normal budget. So you only saw that in fiscal year 21. It hasn't carried forward into the future years of ESSER. So I don't know if you have any questions. I apologize for the delay in figuring out why my PDF won't show bigger.
Does anyone have any
Now it's on
questions?
Zoom.
I have a couple for you. So
Sure.
my first question is about the direct instruction salaries. So that is almost, actually it is close to tripling what we spent this year for fiscal year 24. And so you were indicating that we were having trouble finding staff as it is. So is this for additional positions, or is this adding more of our current staff to be paid for by ESSER? Does that make sense? I'm not sure it does.
It does make sense. It's
Okay.
a really good question. It is to add more positions. So we are looking to add two, we kind of call them class size reduction teachers. ESSER likes to think of them as learning loss teachers, in addition to the interventionist. And we are looking to restate any interventionist that has been pulled from intervention and put into a classroom to put back into intervention.
Okay.
So when you are looking at what and how we estimate spending this year versus what we're proposing for next year, a lot of that is because, and you can see we're expecting to spend less this year on instructional teachers than we did last year, because we have at least 2, if not 3 interventionists who have been pulled out of intervention into doing classroom teaching.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so I guess my second follow-up question to that is, this is our fiscal year 24 is our last year of ESSER. So if we don't use those funds, we have to pay them back, I'm assuming?
Yeah, but that won't happen, but yes.
Well, I know, right? I know you'll be right on top of that, but I guess my question is what's our contingency plan if we can't find the staff, even in fiscal year 24, in order to use these funds all up? Do we have a contingency plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes and no. So we started this conversation at Colt literally on Monday, and we identified the additions that we wanted to build into the budget. And I will just kind of go over them for you because they hit every one of these little categories, and I may have said them, but I want to make sure I didn't miss any. So what we've included are a fair number of positions. So we have 2 sort of class size reduction teachers, one at Barstow and one at Otter Creek Academy. We're very sensitive to making sure that we don't sort of get out of whack of funding our richer and our poorer schools with staff ratios. We have included an SEL coach for the district, for the whole district, to help support social and emotional learning. We have also included a social and emotional interventionist for the high school, grades 7 through 9. We've added a homeschool coordinator to really kind of focus on that homeschool connection and that engagement to help support students coming to school and maybe work on addressing some of our truancy issues specifically. Well, they're not specific to the elementary schools or to the high school that we see them in the high schools as well.
Okay.
We see them in the elementary school as well. We also wanted to add a coordinator of MTSS and special education services to Neshabie. Neshabie, again, is our second biggest school, 100 shy of Otter Valley, and really need help and support on organizing and maintaining services for 504 EST and IEP students. Adding and then there are certain things that still exist in the budget that were kind of rolled over from last year but have open positions that we hope to fill. And then the last thing we want to do is we talked about creating a middle school within the school at Otter Valley. And I'm not sure if that's made it to the board yet or not. It has been shared with the Otter Valley teaching community. Basically, we would like to take the 8th grade wing that currently is in the first floor back part of the building and move it to the 2nd floor front so that we can cordon off some hallways to create a 7/8 wing. And we are proposing that the cost of doing that and creating a middle school entrance for Otter Valley different from the main entrance, so they would enter on the middle school wing side. We've included money for that. The contingency would be kind of coming back early in September after we've been successful at hiring or not successful at hiring, and really defining the one-time expenditures that we should capitalize on. We already have Alexis, our IT coordinator, putting together a technology list of actual equipment that we would use ESSER funds for, including cameras, increasing. We're planning on looking at things that present through the safety audit about increasing our keyless access. Every time we do a keyless access point, it's about $7,500. So if there are doors that need to be, or it would make sense to have keyless access on, those are being incorporated as well. Those are my notes. Did I miss anything that you remember, Kristen?
No, that's so much, Brenda. Well done.
Okay, and then I have one final question. So as we've been talking about the Esser Cliff coming forward, we're going to be hiring all these people to then be letting them go.
Yep.
Okay. Darn
We
it.
do know that.
We do know that.
Yep. Okay. Well,
We don't have an answer for that. We don't have an answer.
no, well, and I just, I realize the Esser Cliff is coming. We've all been expecting it. And so to see this much money pushed into the final year, which I understand why, and if we can use it and if we can find the people, that's great. I hope we can. So,
Yeah.
Why make the hard goods a contingency fund when we know the safety audit, you're gonna need more cameras? Even looking into the PCEB, is there a way to use this money for renovation, knowing ahead of time I mean, I've seen broad strokes with this fund, from football fields to whatever. Why don't we put it into more hard goods rather than building up and taking away, build up and leave kind of a strategy?
Yeah, that has, and we have done a significant amount of that. So, of the 7.7 million, we have 1.5 of it going directly into facilities. So to those assets. Whether we want to push more into there and take some of the student pieces out, we could. One of the things that's really hard, especially when you have this many openings, is I just put in a placeholder, a guess as best I can for what the salaries and benefits are going to be. And I don't know what they'll be, right? So sometimes when you fill, and then this year, we started the year with a full contingent of interventionists, and we didn't have a full contingent of classroom teachers. So I think it was as soon as September, we were pulling interventionists to actually be classroom teachers. So it is likely that I have gone high on the estimated cost of these positions and whether each of them will be filled or not. And we will know that better after the end of the hiring season. So then we could go into those sort of, those hard goods. One of the hesitancies with the hard goods is what you know already, and that is that they still need to be replaced, just not in the same fashion as staff do.
Right. Thank you.
Susanna?
Question. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Quick question. The salaries for anybody that we would pay with the ESSER funds, can we only go a year out with that? Or would it be, we know that we need this interventionist for 2 years. Do we have to, how far are you allowed to go, or?
Yeah, so we have to end, the farthest we could go is September 30th, 2024, which is really June 30th. We could play that game for the first 6 weeks of school, but that's not much of a position.
Okay.
Any other questions? So essentially, you do have it all earmarked. There is no other additional funds for any, I guess that was why I wanted this on the agenda tonight anyway, was to know that we have them all earmarked somewhere, and that if we need to be thinking about other projects or whatnot, that we think about them now instead of, in June of 24. So.
No, I think the answer to that is yes and no, right? So I think, we had a plan last year too to use more of these funds. And we'll continue to have that plan, but I do fear a little bit that we won't fill all these positions, or, I can't believe I'm going to say this, we'll end up hiring people who don't come on with a $30,000 health insurance plan, right? So a couple of, people who don't come on with $30,000 health insurance plans all of a sudden make a big change in it. So I do think it's a good idea to have sort of that, that follow-up list that we can tap into. And I'm, another part of my hat, of course, is facilities. So I'm kind of with Rob, and those are, to me, easy places to go because they are, one time for a while versus people.
Thank you. Any other questions for Brenda regarding ESSER funds? Well, thank you for the update. Appreciate it very much. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Okay, moving on. We are going to be looking at policy 2.10, which is our safety policy. And it is our second reading where we've changed everything from the positive to negative. So, anyone want to make a motion to approve and then we can discuss it? Jessica? Thank you, Jessica. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Robin. Okay, discussion. Did anybody notice anything that they wanted to change? I mean, it is definitely in the negative now. I didn't notice anything, but I'm gonna ask you guys if you noticed anything. And this is our official second reading, or okay, yeah. So once we approve this, will become our 2.10.
We reviewed it the other night, and the only addition was the shall not, and I think 2 places, otherwise it's
Okay,
pretty much the same policy.
great. Then hearing no other information about this, if everyone would like to vote, all those in favor of the 2.10 safety executive limitation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we now have a safety audit. Yay! Okay, so then we're supposed to look at our work plan. And I think we've already actually answered the question, which was that our next meeting will be on April 11th. So that's great. Sorry about my phone dinging. It's tracking my kid. Anyway, so unless there is anything else that we need to discuss, our next meeting will be April 11th. Here or online at 5 o'clock. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn. You don't want to leave?
So moved.
Okay.
So moved.
That was Barbara.
Second.
Second from Jess. All right, all those in favor, you can click off your camera. We'll see you later. Thanks so much for being here.